Calicarpa berries. Now these are some that I've made up earlier. Let's bring those up to the camera so you can see them. Now in actual fact, the way that they grow on trees is slightly different, but in Sugarcraft that's a little bit easier. So I've got you a picture here, get it right way up, there we are, of how they grow. Because they grow on the side of straight stems like that, it's a bit difficult to attach them, because if you're going to make your berries the way that we did the holly berries and the mistletoe berries, then it's going to get a bit bulky and you're going to see the wires if you do that. So what I've done is I've stuck them directly onto the branches in the joins like that, because there's a hell of a lot of berries on. I haven't got as many berries as there are on Calicarpa, but there we are. So I started off with a 26 gauge wire. It doesn't matter what colour you're going to use, because what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to tape the wire with some brown stem tex. Find out which is the sticky side, that side. Start it off at the top of your wire like that, and then with your finger and thumb stretch with your other hand, depending on whether you're left or right. I'm right handed, so I stretch with my right hand, and just roll it between your finger and your thumb down your wire like that. Go all the way down to the bottom of the wire, like that. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to cut this into 4. Now I've already done some that I've cut into 6, which will become obvious in a bit. They're more for the twigs. I've done these so you've got some longer lengths to attach your other pieces to. So I've already got some here that I've already cut. I've also coloured some paste, and I've coloured that with Grape Violet from Sugar Flare. It's the only purple that I like. I don't like some of the others that are on the market because they're either too blue or too red. With this one it's a nice colour. They do a lilac one now in the pale pastel colours, but that's the colour that I've coloured it. Now Calicarpa berries do come in a lot of different shades of purple, from light purple to deep purple. They also come in pink and white. So if you go Google Calicarpa berries on Google, you'll get loads of pictures come up and you'll see what I mean. There are a lot of different varieties of them, but generally in Sugarcraft most people have done the purple ones because it's the more easily recognisable colour. Right, so I'm just going to pop that back in my resealable bag for the time being, and I'm going to start off by putting the twigs together. So again, with your brown tape, start off with one of your longer lengths, start it off a little way down, probably about a couple of inches down, so you've got a twig for the top, and then put in a smaller piece to the side like that. Tape it down, go down a bit further, and then to the other side I'm going to put another twig in to the other side like that. You can do this as big as you want, you can put as many as you want in. I'm not going to go vastly overboard with it. I'm going to put another one in there, another shorter one. Oops, pull that a little bit too hard, then tape down with that. So that's one piece. So then you get your twigs out and just bend them around, just so you've got some difference in your twigs, and bend them around so you've got a nice little branch there. Okay, so I'm going to do that with some more. I'm going to do another one and attach it to the side, so I've got a little branch off of it. As I say, you can do it as much as you want. For demonstration purposes I'm not getting too carried away, because otherwise you're going to get bored watching me just attach twigs onto here. And the last thing I want to do is to bore you to death. It's been a lovely day here today. I've been out in the garden cutting my rose trees back, ready for spring, for shooting again. So anybody that's watching this now while I'm posting it, it's the time to go and cut all your things back. I've done my clematis and my roses. I'm going to put a longer one in here because I want a longer piece on here to attach another piece to the side. Then we'll put another twig in, and then I'm going to leave it at that. Right, so once I've attached those, bring those out. I put a little bit of a bend on, although they might be straight in nature. Sometimes we have to give them a little bit of a helping hand. So I'm just going to go back in now with my tape down here, and I'm going to join in on that side below the higher one of the twigs. I'm going to put a little branch into the side there like that and tape down with that. Make sure you keep it tight so that it stays put, otherwise you're going to have difficulty when you start putting everything together. And then just bend that one out like that. So we've got 2 twigs there. Right, just get rid of those out of the way. Just pop that down there for a minute, and then I'm going to go on to my purple paste. No cutting out, no measuring things, no cutters needed. Everything can be done by hand with things like this, and these are ideal for putting in arrangements if you haven't got any cutters. This is what the leaves all fall off of the branches. This is when the berries become noticeable in this country. In other countries they probably get the berries and the leaves together, judging by some of the pictures that I've seen. What I'm going to do is, first of all, you need something to attach your berries to. So I'm just rolling out a piece of paste like that, and I'm going to put that round the join there, like that. Bring it round and squash that over so that that's squashed in just there. And this is so you can attach your berries to the twig. Bring that round and over there. Now what I did first of all with these, I did actually let that dry before I did anything with it yesterday, ready for putting the berries on. So I only put about 3 sprays of berries. You don't have to put them between all of your twigs, but I'm just going to bring that round there like that. It's a little bit sticky, it's sticking to my fingers here. Take some of that off. If you get it to rest over one of your twigs, it should stay put. And then we'll do another little piece between those there, like that, a bit lower down, like that. Now what I'm going to do now is, before I start making the berries, I'm going to get some of this paste, just take a little bit off of there, don't need all that, and I'm going to make something for my berries to stick to the piece of paste that I've put on there. And the way that you do that is by mixing some of your glue, your edible glue, with your paste. Now you can use this for repairing things as well. If you break a petal or a leaf, you've got spare bits of the same colour left. If you mix it with your glue like this, and if you're very careful and you've got somewhere to put it where it's not going to move around, we used to call this gloop when I was learning how to do it, because we didn't have a proper name for it. But if you want to repair a leaf or a petal or anything like that you've broken, rather than having to make it all again, you can use this method for repairing things as well. Just depends where it's broken and whether it's noticeable. This is why I always try and get the wires to go right the way up petals and leaves. As I've told all of my students, if you have done that, then it's a lot easier to repair it if it's still on the wire, if you've got the wire far enough up. If it's broken off and you haven't got the wire far enough up, then it's a lot more difficult to repair it. Right, so we've got that now into a nice sticky consistency. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some of this round the paste that I've already got on there. This will set harder than the flour paste on its own. That is why it's good for repairing, because it's a lot less likely to break there if you've done this correctly. Just get that in between and some over the top there, like that. I'm just going to do one for the time being until I've got the berries on. So the next step is now to make your berries. Now these need to be tiny, and I mean tiny. We're not doing these life size. And I mean, on the actual plant you do get a hell of a lot of very small berries. Don't worry about them all being exactly the same size either. It doesn't matter if they're not the same size, because in reality on the plants you don't find that they're all the same size. You do get a variation. And I think sometimes when you're doing things in sugarcraft, it's a good idea not to have them too uniform, because otherwise they can not look realistic. So, as somebody once said when I took some of my students to work to the Cake International, when he tells you small, cut it in half or quarters, depending on how small you've got it. It's one way of getting through to people when you're trying to explain what size you want things, you know. People sometimes have difficulty with making things small. So just make a good few of these berries. It doesn't matter if I've got too many, because I'll put them on the other side. You don't need to let these dry in between. You'll probably find actually that you're better off putting them on while the paste is still soft as well. It's a lot easier to get them to stick because it's not dry. Right, so what you start doing then is just attaching your berries over the paste. Like that, and go around your twig. On the actual branches sometimes you just get them growing on one side, but as I said, if you try to do that like this, it wouldn't work. Oops. I've done them when they've been all way, but I'm telling you now, it's a heck of a lot of work to do, making all your berries individually wired and then sticking them on. We need some more on there. I haven't got enough. Thought I would have had enough. I'm not going to do them on all of these branches because I want to finish off by showing you what I've done to finish the branch, the stems off, because I have varnished the berries as well to make them shiny. So at this state, when they're dry, they're just going to be dull. Just make sure that they're all attached. Just go around. Don't matter if they're uneven, they don't grow in any particular order, there's no set pattern. I'll just put a bit more paste in there and put that one in at the bottom there, like that. There we are. So once you've got them onto all of your branches, then put them to one side to dry, and I've got one here that's already dry. For anybody that's watching now that haven't watched my videos before, these are all going to go into a Christmas arrangement, which will be the next video that I do. And it can be either a table arrangement or arrangement for to put on a cake. You can use them for either, but so far I've done holly, hellebores, mistletoe, Calicarpa berries, and poinsettia to go in this arrangement. So you can go, if you go onto my channel, and if you'd like to subscribe, you'll find out about all my new videos coming up. But go onto my channel and you can see all the videos that I've done, including things like roses and lilies and all sorts of other things on there. I won't go through them all now. And have a watch and see what you think. Right, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to varnish these. These have already dried. I'm just looking up the camera to make sure you can see what I'm doing. 'Cause for those that haven't watched me before, I do sometimes have a habit of going out of shot because I'm having to video this while I'm working. I don't have a camera person. Will be politically correct. So I just have to keep an eye out to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. You won't fit another person in my workroom anyway, it's too small. Don't have a big studio or anything like that to work in. While I'm doing this, another thing that I'm going to do in the future after I've done the arrangement is I'm going to do ferns, different kinds of ferns. I've been playing around with them this week, so I have got some that I've made up. Well, I've got one that I've made up, the others I haven't finished because I've had a bit of problem with them, but I will get them right, don't worry, for when I show you what I'm doing. There we are. So then, oh, the sun's out, you can see the shine on it now. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but so the berries are nice and shiny, and they're all ready to go into my arrangement with the other things that I've made to go in with them. So that will be the next video that I'm going to do to make use of everything that I've made. So look forward to seeing you in the next video, and hope you've enjoyed what I'm doing. I know this is a little bit shorter than I normally do. I am trying to get them shorter so people don't lose interest. And one of the ferns that I've done, I'll just show you this before I go. This is something I'm going to go on to. This is done with tiny little cutters and then all put together individually. Some people wouldn't want to do that, but there we are. But I'll explain more about that when I come to do it. But I've got other ferns here that I've done as well. There's another one there, a kind of ladder fern, and a different one there. I didn't have a cutter for that one, but I have got a multi-cutter that I've used to do that, and I have got the veiners for those from Great Impressions. And the next video, as I say, I'm going to put the Christmas arrangement together so that you've got time to do yours for Christmas. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So take care and stay safe.